Hello and welcome to the Happy Accidental Gardener channel. My name is Estelle. I am your Happy Accidental Gardener. If you have been here before, welcome back. If you've never been here before, welcome to my garden and my garden journey. Today we'll be doing bits and pieces of things, starting seeds for fall planting, looking at a couple projects, and checking to see how things are going in the garden. Let's get started. Today we're going to be looking at starting our seeds for fall planting. It is the second week of August, so while the spring/summer vegetables, tomatoes, squash, peppers, melons, corn are still going strong, depending on what varieties you have, they may actually be starting to taper out, and now is the time to think about what you want to be growing for the rest of the season. And like any gardening season, the most important thing you want to do is figure out what you're going to plant. And with so many choices, that's usually the hardest part. So for me, that means green leafy vegetables and some root vegetables as well. This season, just like in spring and summer, I am keeping it small and keeping it in containers. I am taking this opportunity to grow things I really like to eat and the people in my house like to eat, and I'm growing things for people I love that I don't necessarily love myself. Case in point, I'm growing beets. I don't love beets, but my grandma does. So I'm growing 3 types of beets this season. I'm growing golden beets, these Bassano beets, which are the candy cane stripe, and these ruby queens, which are the beets we're more used to seeing. For myself, I'm growing collards, spinach, broccoli. I am growing 2 types of cabbage, but I'm growing that for my sisters. I am growing snap peas for myself and sweet peas for my mom. I think that just about covers it for what I'll be doing for the fall. But again, beginning to mid-August is a great time to get started for fall planting. What I'm going to do is reuse some of the containers that I got when I purchased seedlings. And no, not all of these are from seedlings I purchased this year. These are from seedlings I've purchased over the years. If you don't want to go out and buy new trays, you can certainly reuse pots or seedling trays or small containers that you've gotten over the years. I am using a basic potting soil from the big box store. The goal is, of course, this is for my green cabbage. The goal is, of course, to have strong seedlings start so that when it's time to put them in the ground, they will flourish. Now, cabbage seeds are tiny, tiny. Can you see those? Tiny, tiny. So normally you really just want 1 per pot, but I am going to put in a couple of them just to make sure we get germination, and then maybe 3. And then when it's time to transplant, you just pick 1 and let the others die off. That was the planting of all my fall vegetables. One thing I did forget to do was bring out tape and a Sharpie to label all the pots. I'll have to do that later. For right now, I just left the seed bags in between the pots so I can remember what's what. I was lucky enough to find this garden bench at an estate sale, and it is cast aluminum and not cast iron. So it has the look of cast iron, but it's much, much lighter. And the person who was selling me the bench was kind enough to pressure wash it for me and get most of the rust off. The only thing I need to do is change out these ancient screws, right? There's a whole bunch of them. There's some down there on the struts that are holding the legs in. So I've got to change out all of those screws, prime it. I do have a primer for cast aluminum, and then I'm going to spray paint it and have a lovely garden bench. Now, granted, the bench only cost me $10. The spray paint, the elbow grease, and the cushions will cost a little more. But isn't this a gorgeous bench and a fantastic garden project? So I will be keeping all of you up to date on the progress with this project. I have sourced the screws. I do have to go back for washers. I forgot to get those. Duh. But other than that, I think this will turn out really, really nice. I mean, look at that detail. This is an absolutely gorgeous bench. This is project alert number 2, and you're probably wondering what 6-foot 4x4s and cinder blocks have to do with the project. I'm just telling you, this is a real quick, real easy way to make a garden bench. This project will probably go way faster than the bench project with the cast aluminum bench, just because that one involves rust and painting. And this one just involves staining and putting everything together. So keep an eye out in future episodes for information on this bench project. So that is it for work in the garden today. I've gotten seeds planted for the fall garden. I'll be honest, this is my first time doing a fall garden from seed. Usually, if I have the time or even energy to do a fall garden, I am buying seedlings and just reaping the benefit of someone else's planting the seed and starting the seedling. And I am completely okay with that. But this year, I've got a little free time and I've got a little extra energy, so I'm gonna give it a shot. Now, I am not gonna take these containers and seeds inside and put them on under a grow light. I am going to leave them outside in this sun and warm weather of August and see how they do. The worst thing that'll happen is they won't grow and I'll have to go buy seedlings. It's not like I've never done that before. So, garden updates. The tomatoes are still producing and doing really well. I know, because I'm actually giving some of them to my neighbors. The melons are growing nicely. The peppers are still producing. Unfortunately, the squash have succumbed to squash borers. Darn bugs. Can't stand them. They got me again. But the good news is I got a good squash and zucchini harvest before that happens. Still a few ears of corn left that need to ripen before they can be picked. But everything is doing fairly well. Also, as you've seen, I've got 2 new projects that will be popping up in future episodes of the Happy Accidental Gardener. So definitely, if you like what I'm doing, hit that like button, hit subscribe, hit notifications so you know when I post new stuff and you can keep up with the ongoing projects. Thank you so much for stopping by. I had a great day in the garden today, and I hope you did too. See you around the garden.